It all started in a Harvard dorm room in 2003. A 19-year-old Mark Zuckerberg, a socially awkward but gifted programmer, sat at his computer, coding away at something that would change the world. He had already built smaller projects before, like Synapse, an AI-powered music player, and FaceMash, a controversial website that let students rank each other's attractiveness. FaceMash exploded in popularity but landed Zuckerberg in trouble. Harvard shut it down within days, citing privacy concerns, and he narrowly avoided expulsion. But in that brief success, he saw a powerful insight. People craved an online platform where they could connect, share, and define their identity. Zuckerberg got to work. In early 2004, he and his roommates Dustin Moskovitz, Eduardo Saverin, and Chris Hughes launched the Facebook, a social network initially exclusive to Harvard students. The idea took off like wildfire. Within weeks, students at other Ivy League schools were begging to join. Realizing its potential, Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard and moved to Palo Alto, California, where he rented a small house as Facebook's first headquarters. There, he worked obsessively, expanding the platform beyond colleges and into the mainstream. By 2006, Facebook had opened to the general public and its growth was staggering. Investors took notice, and one of Silicon Valley's biggest names, Peter Thiel, invested $500,000, giving Facebook the boost it needed to scale. By 2007, Microsoft purchased a small stake in Facebook for $240 million, valuing the company at $15 billion. But Zuckerberg wasn't just building a social network, he was rewriting the rules of business. And not everyone would benefit from his vision. One of the earliest casualties? His own co-founder, Eduardo Saverin. As Facebook scaled, tensions between the two rose. Saverin wanted to monetize the platform early with ads, while Zuckerberg wanted to focus purely on user growth. Their disagreements led to a brutal betrayal. Zuckerberg diluted Saverin's shares, essentially cutting him out of the company he helped build. A lawsuit followed, and though Saverin walked away with an undisclosed settlement, it was clear Zuckerberg was willing to do whatever it took to stay in control. Facebook was now a global force, attracting millions of users and reshaping how people interacted online. But with rapid expansion came new problems: privacy concerns, data mining, and a growing unease about the power Zuckerberg was amassing. And this was just the beginning. By 2008, Facebook had grown far beyond its Ivy League roots. What had started as a Harvard student directory was now a global phenomenon with over 100 million users. The platform wasn't just about connecting with friends anymore, it was becoming an online identity, a place where people shared their lives, interacted with brands, and even consumed news. As the user base exploded, Zuckerberg pushed for one major change that would define Facebook's future: the newsfeed. When Facebook first launched, profiles were static. Users had to visit someone's page to see updates. But Zuckerberg wanted something dynamic, something that would make Facebook addictive. So in 2006, Facebook introduced the newsfeed, a real-time stream of posts, photos, and updates from friends. The response? Outrage. Users hated the newsfeed at first. They accused Facebook of being invasive, of turning their personal updates into public broadcasts. A Facebook users against the newsfeed group gained millions of members overnight, demanding that Zuckerberg remove the feature. But Zuckerberg didn't back down. He saw the bigger picture. He knew that by making content constantly visible and shareable, he was turning Facebook into something more than just a social network. It was becoming a daily habit, an addiction. And he was right. Over time, people stopped complaining and started scrolling. The newsfeed kept them hooked for hours, endlessly consuming content. Engagement soared. Advertisers saw the potential, and Facebook became an advertising goldmine. Facebook wasn't just growing in users, it was accumulating something far more valuable: data. Unlike any company before it, Facebook had real-time insights into people's lives. It knew what they liked, where they traveled, who they interacted with, and what brands they engaged with. This wasn't just social networking, this was surveillance capitalism at its finest. Zuckerberg realized that personal data was the future of advertising. He built a sophisticated ad targeting system that allowed businesses to reach users with unprecedented precision. Unlike traditional ads, Facebook didn't just sell space, it sold attention. The results were staggering. Advertisers poured money into Facebook, and by 2012, the company was generating billions in revenue. That same year, Zuckerberg made a bold move. He took Facebook public, launching one of the most hyped IPOs in history. But even as Zuckerberg became one of the youngest billionaires in history, cracks were starting to show. Privacy advocates were raising concerns about how much data Facebook was collecting. Governments were questioning the company's influence over information. Competitors were either getting crushed or bought out. And in 2014, Zuckerberg made a move that would turn Facebook from a tech giant into a digital empire. He acquired WhatsApp and Instagram, cementing Facebook's dominance over the social media landscape. But the more power Zuckerberg amassed, the more people began to distrust him. And soon, Facebook would face its biggest scandal. By 2016, Facebook was no longer just a social network, it was a global powerhouse. With over 1.7 billion users, the platform had become the internet's town square, where people discussed politics, shared news, and engaged with brands. But there was a dark side to Facebook's rapid expansion, one that would soon explode into scandal after scandal. The 2016 U.S. presidential election was a turning point for Facebook. For years, the company had claimed it was just a neutral platform, a space where people could share opinions freely. But as the election heated up, something alarming happened. Fake news articles spread like wildfire. Stories claiming that the Pope had endorsed Donald Trump or that Hillary Clinton was running a secret child trafficking ring went viral, racking up millions of shares. Political ads, many of them funded by foreign actors like Russia, were micro-targeted at specific voters using Facebook's sophisticated ad system. These ads played on fears, divisions, and biases, manipulating public opinion. Facebook's infamous algorithm, designed to maximize engagement, prioritized sensationalism over truth. The more shocking the content, the more clicks it got, and the more money Facebook made. After the election, Facebook faced intense scrutiny. Reports revealed that Russian operatives had used the platform to run disinformation campaigns, sowing discord among Americans. The public was outraged. How had Facebook, once just a fun place to share photos, become a tool for political manipulation? At first, Zuckerberg denied everything. In a 2016 interview, he dismissed the idea that fake news on Facebook had influenced the election as a pretty crazy idea. But as evidence piled up, he was forced to backtrack. Congress called him to testify. For the first time, Zuckerberg was in the hot seat, facing lawmakers who demanded answers about Facebook's role in spreading misinformation, propaganda, and election interference. His response? A carefully rehearsed apology. "We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. It was my mistake, and I'm sorry." But for many Americans, sorry wasn't enough. If Facebook's reputation had already taken a hit, 2018 would be the year it shattered completely. A whistleblower revealed that Cambridge Analytica, a shady political consulting firm, had secretly harvested data from 87 million Facebook users without their consent. How did they do it? Simple. Cambridge Analytica built a personality quiz app on Facebook. Users who took the quiz unknowingly gave away access to their personal data and, even worse, the data of all their friends. This data was then used to create psychological profiles of voters, allowing Cambridge Analytica to micro-target them with political ads and propaganda. The firm worked with Donald Trump's campaign in 2016, using this data to influence voter behavior. When the news broke, it was a PR disaster for Facebook. People were furious that their personal information had been stolen and exploited. Zuckerberg was dragged before Congress again. This time, his robotic, emotionless demeanor didn't help. Clips of lawmakers grilling him went viral, making him look like a cold, unfeeling billionaire who had lost touch with reality. Facebook was fined $5 billion by the Federal Trade Commission, the largest penalty ever imposed on a tech company. But for many Americans, it wasn't about the money. It was about trust. And trust in Facebook had been shattered. The phrase "delete Facebook" started trending. Celebrities, politicians, and even former Facebook executives spoke out, calling the platform a threat to democracy, privacy, and mental health. And yet, Facebook kept growing. Despite the scandals, users couldn't stop scrolling. The algorithm was too powerful. The addiction was too strong. But the worst was yet to come. Facebook was about to face a reckoning that would make Cambridge Analytica look small in comparison. By 2020, Facebook had evolved from a simple social network into one of the most powerful companies on Earth. It controlled Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger, boasting a combined user base of over 3 billion people. But with great power came great responsibility, something Mark Zuckerberg and his team repeatedly failed to uphold. In 2021, a former Facebook employee named Frances Haugen shocked the world. As a whistleblower, she leaked thousands of internal documents that proved what many had suspected for years. Facebook prioritized profits over people's well-being. Its algorithms promoted hate speech, misinformation, and division because these posts kept people engaged longer. Facebook knew Instagram was harming teenagers' mental health, especially young girls, but did nothing about it. Haugen testified before Congress, revealing that Facebook had conducted internal research showing how toxic its platform had become. The results were horrifying. Instagram led to depression and body image issues in teenage girls. Facebook amplified political extremism, pushing people toward radical views. The company knew its algorithm encouraged anger and outrage, but refused to change it because outrage kept users hooked. One leaked document revealed a chilling quote from Facebook's own research team: "We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teenage girls." And yet, the company did nothing to fix it.as if the whistleblower's revelations weren't bad enough. Facebook faced another crisis in January 2021, when the world watched in shock as rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol. Investigations later showed that Facebook played a key role in fueling the events of January 6th. Facebook groups became hotbeds for conspiracy theories like QAnon and election fraud claims. The company ignored warnings from its own employees who saw dangerous rhetoric spreading. Facebook's algorithms amplified extremist content, making it easier for hate groups to organize. The backlash was fierce. Lawmakers, journalists, and even former Facebook executives accused Zuckerberg of putting democracy at risk for the sake of engagement and profit. By late 2021, Facebook's public image was in tatters. People no longer saw it as a fun social network. They saw it as a toxic, manipulative corporation that exploited users for data and profit. So what did Zuckerberg do? He rebranded the company. In October 2021, Facebook announced that it was changing its name to Meta, shifting its focus toward building the metaverse, a futuristic digital world powered by virtual reality. The timing was no coincidence. Many saw it as a desperate attempt to escape the bad press. But the rebrand didn't work. Americans weren't buying it. Instead of solving Facebook's real problems like privacy violations, misinformation, and mental health damage, Zuckerberg seemed obsessed with creating a virtual universe that nobody asked for. By 2022, Mark Zuckerberg's reputation had taken a massive hit. Once hailed as a brilliant innovator, he was now seen as an out-of-touch billionaire who didn't care about the real-world consequences of his company's actions. Facebook was compared to big tobacco, accused of knowingly harming users while pretending to be innocent. Surveys showed plummeting public trust, with many Americans seeing Facebook as a force for harm rather than good. And yet, despite all the scandals, Facebook Meta continued to thrive. The question was no longer just how did Zuckerberg build Facebook? It was how does he keep getting away with it? But soon his luck would run out. The next challenge he faced would be the toughest yet: a new generation that no longer cared about Facebook at all. By 2023, Facebook, now known as Meta, was still a global tech giant, but something had changed. For the first time since its launch, Facebook was losing its grip on younger users. Gen Z wasn't interested in scrolling through Facebook posts or liking family vacation photos. They had moved on to TikTok, YouTube, and Snapchat, platforms that felt more authentic and less toxic. Even Instagram, once Facebook's crown jewel, was struggling. When Meta tried to make Instagram more like TikTok, users revolted. Celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian even called out the company publicly, urging them to make Instagram again. Zuckerberg had bet everything on the metaverse, a virtual world where people could socialize, work, and play. He poured over $10 billion into developing VR technology, but the response was lukewarm. The graphics in Meta's virtual world looked outdated and cartoonish. Most people didn't want to spend hours wearing a bulky VR headset. Even Meta's own employees weren't using the metaverse. By 2023, Meta's stock had plummeted, wiping out hundreds of billions in market value. Investors started losing faith in Zuckerberg's vision. While Facebook floundered, TikTok was dominating the internet. The short video platform was everything Facebook wasn't. Fun and engaging. Driven by real people, not fake news or political outrage. Built for Gen Z, not millennials and boomers. For the first time, Facebook had real competition and it was losing. Even advertisers started pulling back from Facebook, choosing platforms like YouTube and TikTok instead. Meta's ad revenue dropped, forcing the company to lay off thousands of employees in its biggest workforce reduction ever. Meanwhile, governments around the world were cracking down on Facebook's business model. The European Union fined Meta billions for privacy violations. Congress introduced new regulations aimed at controlling big tech. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, attempted to break up Meta, accusing it of monopolistic behavior. Zuckerberg, once the golden boy of Silicon Valley, was now a villain in the eyes of the public. So, why does America hate Mark Zuckerberg? The answer is complicated. Some see him as a brilliant entrepreneur who built one of the most successful companies in history. Others see him as a ruthless businessman who betrayed friends, crushed competitors, and exploited users for profit. Many blame him for damaging democracy, spreading misinformation, and harming mental health. But there's one undeniable truth. Zuckerberg changed the world. He took a simple college project and turned it into a tech empire. He rewrote the rules of business, advertising, and online communication. He made billions of dollars, influenced elections, and shaped an entire generation's relationship with social media. And yet, for all his success, Zuckerberg is one of the most disliked figures in tech. His story isn't just about how he built Facebook. It's about how he lost control of it. As Facebook fades and the world moves on, the question remains, will Zuckerberg find a way to reinvent himself? Or will he go down as the man who broke the internet and lost everything in the process?